Hello again, Bill Jones with recapturefederalism.com, recapturefederalism.com on the net, on YouTube. Being suppressed. So if you hear this, share it, retweet it. President Trump, you received this, retweet it if you would. I know that you received it. The title is President Trump, Notice of Treason, Part 1, CIA and FBI committing pro-communist psyops. Wow, Bill. But I've been talking about communism. I've been had a site going up for 3 years now with GoDaddy. Switched to GoDaddy. 175 videos. Nobody sees them. Suppression of free speech by Google, YouTube. They're allowed to merge controlling information. And we do another part on Wikipedia. They're a pro-communist organization. But Google has them listed just about 1 or 2 or 3 on their search engine. But back to part 1. On January 25th, I sent to 7 people notice of treason. Haven't heard from them. 91 pages I sent. 91 pages. What you see now is the 91st page. Secret, silent American insurrection and revolutionary movement. Been going on actively now since 1965. Insurrection. On Christ, the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. And we have a government that's in sinking sand. 2 political parties, primarily the Democratic Party, Communist Party, and we'll get into that deeper. But 91 pages. And I start out like I always start out my presentations. I, William R. Jones, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, so help me God. I first took that oath in July 1965 when I joined the United States Navy. The enemy then was communism, as the enemy now is communism. Yes, the enemy now is communism. It has been for a long period of time. The Democratic Party has been a communist party since 1856, their platform. This country was established, founded by framers who had constitutions, 13 state constitutions. Then they had Articles of Confederation. And that had some deficiencies. So they went to correct the deficiencies, and they did so by coming up with the Constitution of the United States. The communists and enemies of the Constitution would have you believe that it is a flowing document. It is not a flowing document. It is not a flowing document. It is based upon Judaism and Christianity going back thousands of years. Going back thousands of years. Back in the 1990s, I went back to college. I majored in public administration. I had a constitutional law class. I had a great professor by the name of Dr. Carl Stover. I'll never forget the first night class. Introduced himself, and he said, "Let's get right into it." And he went to a whiteboard, started writing down demons and the 7 deadly sins. That's why we have the Constitution of the United States, to counter demons, the prince of darkness, and the 7 deadly sins. Divine inspiration. Divine inspiration. I think he was somewhat wrong and understated it. Because following that class, I went to the Bible. And what do you find in the Bible? Romans 13. Romans 13. Government by the authority of God. Government by the authority of God. And let me read. This is from the Lampson's Bible. I'll get into that later. There used to be online out of Syria. No longer online. The church, 1800-year-old church, where it was based at, was destroyed by Islamists. We'll get into that later too. That's part of the CIA, FBI committing PSYOPS. But back to chapter 13. Let every soul be subject to the sovereign authorities, for there is no power which is not from God, and those who are in authority are ordained by God. Whoever therefore resists the civil authority resists the command of God, and they who resist shall receive judgment to themselves. For the judges are not a menace to good works, but to evil. Now if you wish not to be afraid of authority, then do good, and you will be praised for it. For the ruler is the minister of God to you for good. But if you do which is wrong, be afraid, for he is not girded with the sword in vain. For he is the minister of God, and an avenger of wrath upon those who commit crime. Wherefore we must be obedient, not only in fear of wrath, but also for our conscience sake. For this reason you pay head tax also, for they are ministers of God, who are in charge of these things. Render therefore to every one that is due him, head tax to him who is in charge of head tax, duty to him who is in charge of taxes, reverence to whom reverence is due, and honor to whom honor is due. Owe no man anything, but love one another, for he who loves his neighbor has fulfilled the law, which says, Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not covet. And if there is any other commandment, it is fulfilled in this saying, namely, Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Love does not work evil to his neighbor, because love is the fulfillment of the law. Know this also, that now is the time and the hour that we should awake from our sleep. For now our salvation is nearer than when we believed. The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast out all works of darkness. Let us put the armor of light. Let us walk decently as in the daylight, not in the clamor and drunkenness, not in the practice of immorality, nor in envy or strife, but clothe yourselves with our Lord Jesus Christ, and disregard the lust of the flesh. 14th verse is the only one that Christ is mentioned in. The other, 13, is all Judaism. It's all God. God, the true God. The true God. And Romans 13 was in the 91 pages. This was also in the 91 pages too. It's the Augsburg Confession from year 1530 by Martin Luther and other reformers who came up with the Augsburg Confession. It's a confession of faith of the Lutheran Church, which I'm a Lutheran. Article 16 has to do with civil affairs. Of civil affairs, they teach that lawful civil ordinances are good works of God, and that is the right of Christians to bear civil office, to sit as judges, to judge matters by imperial and other existing laws, to award just punishment, to engage in just wars, to serve as soldiers, to make legal contracts, to hold property, to make oath when required by magistrates, to marry a wife, to be given in marriage. Then down to 4. They condemn also who do not place evangelical perfection in the fear of God and in faith, but in forsaking civil offices, for the gospel teaches an eternal righteousness of the heart. Meanwhile, it does not destroy the state or the family, but as very much requires that they are preserved as ordinances of God, and that to charity be practiced in such ordinances. Therefore, Christians are necessarily bound to obey their own magistrates and the laws, save only when commanded to sin, for they ought to obey God rather than men. Acts 5:29. Acts 5:29. The authority of God over the authority of man. Now this is from my site. I have a page, the 91 pages. Like I said, it's smaller print, so it's really, if you print it out, it's about 68 pages. But 91 pages I sent, and that's what I sent, the package, to John Roberts. This is who I sent it to. John Roberts, Chief Justice, Supreme Court of the United States. Paul Ryan, Speaker of the United States House of Representatives. Mitch McConnell, Majority Leader of the United States Senate. James Comey, Director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Bruce Rauner, Governor of the State of Illinois. Rita B. Garman, Chief Justice of the Illinois Supreme Court. Leo Smits, Director of the Illinois State Police. That's who I sent it to. And if you see, it's notice 18 U.S.C. Chapter 115. Treason, sedition, and subversion. Notice of treason against the United States in all 50 states. 18 U.S.C. Chapter 115, Section 2382. All 50 states. All 50 states. Each state has treason or codification of treason. Illinois is, which is part of the 91 pages also. Theirs reads almost identical with the federal 18 U.S.C. 2381, 2382, and 2385. But what is 2382? It reads, misprision of treason. Whoever, owing allegiance to the United States and having knowledge of the commission of any treason against them, conceals and does not, as suit is made, disclose and make known to the same president, or some judge of the United States, or to the governor or some judge or justice of a particular state, is guilty of misprision of treason, and shall be fined under this title, imprisoned not more than 7 years, or both. Not shall suffer death is treason, 2381. And if you don't, whoever owing allegiance, that's whoever makes oath. All these people here are taking oath. They do nothing. I'm aware of treason. A citizen. Just a free citizen. But I'm aware of it. I'm telling them about it. And what are they doing about it? Nothing, nothing, nothing. You notice I didn't do the President of the United States. He's a communist. He's a communist. I've done posts on them. He's a communist. The Attorney General is a communist. The previous Attorney General, Eric Holder, now he's going to be a lobbyist for California. He's a communist. They're Democratic Party. Communist Party. Progressive Communist Party. And Mr. President Trump. I should say elect, shouldn't I? No, if you're going to be the president, this is what I want you to do. This is what I want you to work on. Starting January 20th. Progressive Alliance. This is part of the 91 pages, by the way. This is part of the 91 pages. Look at the names. Democratic Party, blah 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 blah. Progressive Democratic Party, Social Democratic Party of the Socialist, blah 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 blah. Oh, United Kingdom down here. Labour Party. Oh, USA, the Democratic Party. USA Democratic Party. That's right. They're part of an alliance, an international world communist cabal. International communist cabal. By the way, treason in the United States, where do we get that from? 1351, treason law, England. There's treason laws in all the Commonwealth, the British Commonwealth. Australia, there's party. But I want to, since we're down here by S, your wife is from Slovenia. Oh, and I remember hearing her talk about her father involved in communism and Yugoslavia, Slovenia, back when she was a young child. But here they are today, Slovenia, Social Democrats. They're involved in world communist, involved in voter fraud in other countries, voter fraud in other countries in Slovenia. Interesting, isn't it? Interesting. And Palestine. Now here we go, and we just had to vote. Why did they have a vote in the United Nations? Why did they vote that way? Well, because they're with the Fatah and the Palestinian National Initiative, and also they're in with Israel, the Meretz Party, and the Labor Party, and the workers of the world unite. I'm going to get into that too. In fact, I might get into it pretty soon here. Pretty soon. I'm going to tell you, Canada, our neighbors, New Democratic Party, and that's the northern border. And Mexico, the Mexican Citizens Movement, that's communism, movement. I wish you wouldn't use movement to describe the people following you either, because it implies that they're communist, and free citizens class is not communist. They're anti-communist. And the Party of the Democratic Revolution, PRD, open borders, page 25 of the Communist Manifesto. By the way, that's Principles of Communism. That's part of the 91 pages also. That's part of the 91 pages also. But let me go into why I always, and it's on YouTube, I have in the description what I read all the time. What I read all the time. It's part of the 91 pages also. But communism abolishes eternal truth and abolishes all religion and all morality. It abolishes eternal truth and abolishes. That's a dig at the Bible, book of truth, the Word. On Christ, the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. And that's what we're talking about. Communism abolishes eternal truth. It abolishes all religion, all morality. That's page 26 of the Communist Manifesto. And then page 34. Finally, they labor everywhere for the union and agreement of the democratic parties of all countries. They labor, by the way, it's the European English spelling, L-A-B-O-U-R, just like you have on the parties there. Just like you have on the parties. The Israeli Labour Party, the British Labour Party. Oh yeah, unions for the union and agreement of the democratic parties of all countries. And then it further reads, the communists disdain to conceal their views and aims. They openly declare their ends can be attained only by the forcible overthrow of all existing social conditions, that the ruling classes tremble at the communistic revolution. The proletarians have nothing to lose but their change, and they have a world to win. Working men of all countries unite. And as I say, they united. May 4th, 1886. May 4th, 1886, in city of Chicago, Haymarket Square. They united and threw a bomb, and dynamite bomb, killing 7 police officers. Yeah, that's where they started targeting police. They've been targeting them for 130 years. Oh yeah, been targeting them. Communism abolishes eternal truth. It abolishes all religion and all morality. Let's take a look at that. Oh, we have Syria down here. The Syrian Democratic People's Party. Let's take a closer look at them. We have a problem there in Syria right now, don't we? With Christian genocide, eliminating, abolishing all religion, all morality, killing of Christians and Jews. And here we have a little blurb here about the Syrian Democratic People's Party. It's from the Carnegie Middle East Center. Middle East Insights from Carnegie and the Syrian People's Party. The Syrian People's Party is a socialist opposition party. It is part of the National Democratic Assembly and the Damascus Declaration bloc within the Syrian National Council. Oh, from January 10th, 2012. That's when the president wasn't doing anything, lying in the sand and all that kind of garbage. The Syrian Democratic Party is a socialist opposition party. It's part of the National Democratic Assembly and the Damascus Declaration bloc within the Syrian National Council. The party calls for pluralist democracy, freedom, equality, and social justice. Sounds nice, doesn't it? Oh yeah. But it's all communism. The SDPP is renowned for its hardline stance against the regime and its historical alliance with Islamist groups. ISIL. ISIS. Yeah. They're with groups that are cutting off the head, they're beheading Christians, killing Christians, committing genocide against Christians, and they're in alliance with the Democratic Party of the United States, overthrowing governments. Not saying that they shouldn't try and overthrow the government, but who are you with? Oh, a founder, Turk. I wonder if that's the Young Turks are related to them. Huh? They're progressive, communist also. Founded in 1995, Radik Al-Kirk, originally known as the Syrian Communist Party Political Bureau, until it changed its name in 2005, abandoned Marxism-Leninism for social democracy. That's still communism, by the way. Still communism. Still communism. And that's who you align yourself with, Islamist. Islamist. Because Islamist is not a religion, it is a cult. And with that, I'm going to be gone today. And please, Mr. President Trump, if you would, contact me. Don't remain silent like the other ones. Don't remain silent like the other ones. Please, please retweet this video. Good day.